Live-action remakes. Who appreciates them? Well, not everyone. Best example being right now with Disney. It's like they aren't even trying. All of their remakes just feel like cash grabs if anything. But now we've got ourselves a new version. This time from DreamWorks themselves. They adapted one of the greatest movies into live-action form. How to Train Your Dragon. Unlike past Disney remakes, this one actually manages to have a soul of heart. Everyone looks like they're having fun playing the characters, and the dragons are already historically epic enough where placing them in live-action form isn't exactly a difficult task, but it still enchantingly works all the same. This was a gorgeous retelling that actually feels more like it's respecting its franchise rather than just being a cash grab. So, how did DreamWorks bring their signature magical charm into the live-action universe? What updates does this remake do to help it soar? And why could it be a good thing for remakes going forward? In today's movie review, I will be talking about the live-action adaptation of How to Train Your Dragon. We will look at how the legend is still real in this universe of dragons and Vikings. Time for our test drive. First off, this live-action remake does something that Disney doesn't. That actually respecting its original source material and also staying very faithful to the original with updated dialogue, extended scenery for some of its most beloved moments, and giving off some of that nostalgic magic for those that grew up watching the original film 15 years ago. Not only that, but it ensures itself to not come off as soulless, as all the characters have plenty of charm still, and the dragons look epic as hell alongside still being as fierce and expressive. Or a massive cash grab unlike its competitor, Lilo and Stitch. Instead, it has lots of fun to be made with its cast and realism. It's also directed gorgeously since most of the original producers returned, showing the dedication of making a great live-action remake. And the music is just as historic and epic-like, thanks to John Powell returning to compose the score. Please take notes, Disney. For a franchise with a massive scenery surrounding its world building, all of those set pieces truly come to life here, making its Viking setting all the more better, like being set in those ancient times. True, it's like this in the original, but here you get to see that similar vibe in its truest form. Alongside its classic set pieces, we also got to talk about just how stunning this movie is with its visual design. Just like its classic 2010 predecessor, it's visually stunning and appealing, with very cinematic cinematography, portraying realism, breathtaking visuals, and dynamic action scenes. A lot of its dragon scenery will blow you away, especially in an IMAX format. It goes to show that DreamWorks can still make a beloved movie work even in the dreaded live-action format. All they needed to do was follow its simple script and recreate the scenes with some good pacing and themes. Again, please take notes, Disney. In this recreation of a film everybody adores, it also ensures to fix another mistake that ongoing remakes tend to have. Actors that bring lots of charm to their respective original characters. Mason Thames is awesome as Hiccup, and he manages to not only remain in character with the original dialogue, but also putting his own spin on the character in modern day cinema. Nico Parker is also pretty amazing as Astrid, even though she does lack the blonde hair of her animated counterpart, but she does manage to maintain her personality and depth. All the other actors are pretty solid as well, and it was also really charming to see Gerard Butler returning as Stoic the Vast from the animated trilogy. It also manages to use actors that aren't very well known and gives them enough star power so that they can go on to being a potential star in the Hollywood industry. A clever move by the studio to ensure it never comes off as soulless as people would put it in the majority of the live-action remakes these days. It has plenty of emotional resonance still intact. A lot of the scenes that do have some deep moments don't happen so suddenly and never comes off as slow. It has some decent pacing so that it can allow its emotional bits to hit. Even if the characters aren't as charming or energized like in the original animated films, it doesn't usually matter when they have plenty of good character development. And also the dragons are designed wonderfully and fit very well with the realistic approach of this film. Toothless definitely looks very faithful to his classic design, and the animation they did for him was more expansive, allowing him to have his similar emotions and screen time that will make newcomers become a massive fan of his antics. Comparing this remake to the past ones feels like a major step up, especially because it's DreamWorks and not Disney. Finally, this movie keeps all of its same genres to perfectly mix them all together to deliver a dragon extravaganza experience for all ages. The action is as hard-hitting as ever, and there are more dragons as well. It blends its action with humor, themes, emotion, and plenty of wonderful scenery. It's how a movie must be done. Grounded, compelling, yet not shy to maintain its family-friendly-like vibe alongside its strong messages for older viewers, and also keeping a good sense of humor that isn't forced or repetitive. All the scenes have plenty of good fun, and they aren't in complete silence as there's a bunch going on here. And it's basically a good showcase of DreamWorks learning from what people hate the most of a live-action remake. If this is the direction that the remakes are going to go with from now on, I'm all down for it. I would absolutely love to rediscover the original trilogy all over again, now in remastered, realistic form. This is definitely a step in the right direction, as it has a little something for everyone and getting us ready for its sequel in June 2027. It's truly how to bring an original movie to life. The live-action How to Train Your Dragon film is an absolute visual treat for the entire family, especially for those that are wanting to capture that same feeling of watching the original back in 2010. It fits neatly into its already amazing animated saga and neatly accomplishes its mission of not just straightforward fare, but retelling its classic source material straight from scratch. It stays faithful to its 2010 film with some good changes, more scenery, and remaining elements. The performances are extremely talented. It's visually stunning and never comes off as soulless since it offers plenty of heart and charm like before. The music is still epic. The set pieces are realistic as hell. It's emotionally resonant. The action is very dynamic, and the direction is just as great as ever. Now I almost never feel the need to go back and watch a live-action remake from Disney. DreamWorks can do what Disney don't. They all feel generic and boring. Here, it has full in-command direction and better pacing. And that's what makes it far superior against its competitor. The live-action How to Train Your Dragon film is a visual spectacle that deserves every bit of attention to detail on the big cinematic screen. Taking powerful flight with its cinematography, realism, dynamic scenery, and an assembled crew respecting its source material, Dean DeBlue's live-action iteration of How to Train Your Dragon proves DreamWorks hasn't lost any of its signature magical charm or spirit. My final score for this Dragon extravaganza is a 10 out of 10 and a grade S. It's one of the best live-action remakes for sure, and can easily teach Disney a thing or two. There's always been a good reason why I much prefer DreamWorks over Disney the majority of the time. Back in those days, Disney could tell legendary tales of original stories, but nowadays they make cheap sequels/remakes that are always inferior to their predecessors, whilst DreamWorks can make those similar animated movies but more consistently, a bigger franchise, and now live-action retellings. Basically, the animation company behind Shrek can cook real good with their films. But with that being said, leave a like on this video if you guys did enjoy my review on the live-action How to Train Your Dragon film, and also remember to subscribe if you are new, and hit that bell icon to see more content on my channel. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later. Take care of yourselves.